everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you are joining for the first time, this is part of our e-commerce series, for which we meet every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, we have a very interesting vendor. It's called Kibo Commerce. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. I am going to start with my intro. If you don't know me, I am Sam Gupta, your host and principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP, e-commerce, and digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, I am going to move to Robert for his intro.
Hi, I'm Robert Brown. I'm principal at Robert Brown E-commerce Consultancy. We help small to medium-sized businesses implement their e-commerce solutions.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Robert. And if you're in the audience and joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions and comments. We typically try to cover them during the show. If we run out of time, we will make sure you receive your answers. On that note, Robert, I am going to start with the quick briefing of this solution, and then we can exchange our ideas based on whatever research or experiences you may have had based on this product line. And obviously, we are going to be talking about where they sort of fit in the ecosystem. Obviously, when we look at the e-commerce products out there, I think there are at least 1 million products. And sometimes it's very hard to find out where everyone sort of fits. And we are always going to have surprises. I don't know why commerce market is so fragmented. That is something I kind of like it because you have a lot more options. But then it's also very hard to track, compared to, let's say, if you compare this with ERP market or CRM market, you don't have 1 million options.
Yeah, it can be very daunting for the unexperienced because, typically the owner of a company will task a team, probably junior analysts, to go out and do some research and start the, RFI process. And if they don't have some guide rails, they're going to pull in an awful lot of inappropriate options.
Exactly. And they are going to take years because they are going to be wasting a lot of time with unnecessary details.
Yeah, like this one, this is the first time that this has happened to us. There's actually 2 products in the marketplace called Kibo. So we have Kibo e-commerce solutions that we're covering today. And there's also Kibo e-commerce tax solutions, which is part of Avalara. So let's make sure that if you go to look for Kibo, it's not the Avalara product. It's actually a separate product. It's Kibo e-commerce.
Great clarification. And I don't know if there was any sort of connection there overall. Obviously, we are going to look at the evolution of this product. This is relatively new, especially the name. If you talk about the name, because they were born sort of in 2016 because of the integration that the private equity company did of a lot of different products in the market. And that's what private equity companies are sort of good at. So, Robert, in a way, when I was looking at this product, I was kind of blown away because I was thinking that, this is the product that I was looking for so far. I could not see this in any other products that we have reviewed. And I believe we have reviewed roughly, 20, 30 right now. And the reason why I like this one is because of the unified commerce as well as omni-channel experience. Okay, so we have looked at a lot of different best of breed options. For example, even if you talk about your sales forces of the world, or if you talk about some more sort of sophisticated options that are typically known in the e-commerce community, but they are also going to utilize a separate tool for their mobile commerce, separate tool for their POS, omni-channel experience. And, I was thinking, okay, if I'm the apparel brand, if I am a brand that has a lot of stores, okay, I am not talking about grocery. Okay, grocery is a very different ball game altogether. And I don't think these guys are really selling to grocery. So I am talking about brands that are not going to have as much traffic, I would say, in these stores, but not as light as your Shopify POS. I mean, these guys, in my opinion, I think have slightly more richer paths for the omnichannel and the kind of brands that they have worked with. Some of these stores are like home goods stores, and they are reasonably busy, I would say. I mean, they are not going to be Walmarts of the world, where you have 50,000 people standing in line. But you are looking at roughly every 15 minutes, another customer, I guess. That's going to be probably the traffic.
Well, I think, taking a look at the list. So for, just for our audience sake, I'm going to name some of the companies that use them. Adidas,
Yep.
Wrangler, Mizuno, so clothing, Dunkin' Donuts,
Yep.
Office Depot, Subaru, Jelly Belly, and a big department store, Boskov. So, that definitely shows. Oh, and of course, my M&Ms, the company from my back door. They're literally like a half a mile from my back door. That shows the integration really does work.
Just to be clear, and I don't know what level of depth these companies are using from this solution. I don't know if they are using for the whole unified commerce experience, because sometimes the only thing they are going to do, maybe e-commerce, maybe mobile commerce, but for PaaS, I'm probably going to be using something else. And by the way, if you look at their offering, they can sell this in bundles. You don't have to buy everything from Kibo. So that's another distinction that they have. But the real advantage that I see with this particular offering, Robert, is going to be when you are going to be utilizing this for unified commerce. And in my opinion, I think that's where the challenge is. Even if you are able to get best of breed. For example, let's say if you get, I don't know, Salesforce Commerce or maybe Commerce Tools, okay, for the commerce, and then you are probably going to get Bloomreach for your, and again, for the experience management, I'm not as worried because that is actually not part of your transactions, so that can be siloed. I don't care if you want to utilize best of breed. Even search, if you want to utilize that best of breed, I don't have as much problem. But when it comes to the transactional integration, and when I'm saying transactional integration, that is going to be your ERP centric workflows, which is going to be your e-commerce, mobile commerce, that is going to be your POS commerce. When you look at those workflows, when you are looking at processing these returns, when you are looking at buy online, pick up in store, that's where the real complications is in the fulfillment, in processing these orders, in accommodating different statuses for the order. And that's where that's always been our challenge overall when we try to patch these systems together. It's very, 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 very hard to integrate. You are always going to have holes in your architecture, and that's where I guess these guys are trying to provide humongous value with respect to unified commerce.
And there's actually a paper on their site about the buy online, pick up in store from Boskov and how it really helped their revenue growth.
Yeah, could not agree more. And again, if you are really implementing buy online, pick up in store, you have no idea how difficult that is. Especially if you are using fragmented systems. Typically, if you're using 2, 3, you might be able to manage. But if you're using 4, 5, 6 with different add-ons, good luck with doing that. You are going to have a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah, so some more background and, overall with this particular private equity company. And Robert, I don't know whether you have background with them or not. I believe they are called Vista Equity, okay? And recently, they have also announced that they have spun off Aptean from their portfolio, okay? So if you look at the private equity's background, they were always very sort of, retail focused. And one of the things that they do really, really well is they are going to be buying these underappreciated assets, and they are number one. They are going to change their marketing like you have not seen before. Okay, that's how good their marketing is going to be. So if you look at Kibo right now, if you look at their marketing material, oh my goodness, you are going to blow away with the presentation that they are able to make. So that is number one. Number two is going to be they buy legacy technology, and they don't believe in sort of rewriting the whole technology. They believe in integrating it. That's what they have done with Aptean. If you look at what Aptean is today, obviously Aptean has grown a lot. But what these guys are trying to do is they are taking exact opposite approach, from your headless vendors. Headless vendors are trying to pitch best of breed. Okay, they are trying to claim that, what, you are going to buy all of this best of breed, and don't worry, we all know how to integrate, but you have no idea how difficult that integration is going to be when you are going to be buying all of this best of breed. Obviously, let's not even talk about millions of dollars that you probably require for the custom integration. So these guys, what they are trying to do is they are trying to provide pre-baked integration for the products. Now, the products that they have, and I was trying to find the demo video for this product, and I'm like, okay, if I look at the marketing, if it is going to be new, sexy product just like Bloomreach, I am blown away. Okay, I'm buying blindly this product. But if you look at the product, it's probably going to have really clunky interface. Okay, I could hardly find, some of them. I don't know if everything is clunky. So the other thing that you are not going to notice when these private equity companies are trying to buy, obviously they are trying to buy some very, very new product, some very, very old product, because they are smart. Okay, from the demo, what they are trying to do is they are only trying to show the commerce platform, but then you are going to see very patchy experience on some of the products, and the documentation is going to be super weak as well overall, because some of these products were written by developer or development team of 5. They didn't have time for documentation. Code, boom, product is ready, selling. Who cares for documentation when we all 5 understand? So obviously you are going to have all of those challenges, with some of these legacy technologies that they are carrying. But integration is still key for this particular product.
Yeah, Vista is making big inroads into e-commerce. Another one of their big investments is Klarna.
Exactly. So that's another point, I guess. They have, and that's probably the reason why they spun off Apteam, because Klarna is so hot, and they are really investing in the retail space. So why to invest in Apteam at this point of time?
Yeah, another big one that I have personal experience with is MindBody. So MindBody is a health club, sports and entertainment management tool.
Yeah. And these guys are really good, to be honest. I mean, I love this equity, the kind of work that they do. And again, I don't think if you're going to find, if you can ignore the legacy experience, I don't know how uncomfortable that is going to be honest. Okay, if you can ignore that, I don't think anybody in the market can match the price point that these guys can provide, as well as the implementation time, because again, the integration is going to be pre-baked. That is going to be really hard to find in the market. Okay, so if you don't have any other comments, let's start with the slide. So here, this is the slide from 2016, and this is where they had announced that they had launched a new product, in the private equity. And by the way, this is where I see the future of a lot of headless brands, Robert. So what is going to happen is, I guess one of the private equity is going to acquire all of these headless brands. They are going to combine, integrate, and probably going to create head as well. And then they can sell it as the integrated experience, because now the underlying technology is far superior and they can do faster development based on that. So that could be a play for some of these headless platforms. So here, this is the announcement in 2016. So they are saying, today announced its acquisition of 5. Run is the MPOS, and I'm pretty sure they probably compete with your new store. New store is the platform, the MPOS platform, right? That is from the guy who founded your Intershop as well as the Demandware. Now this is his 3rd startup, so now he is with that. And I guess Salesforce is actually trying to sell all of that, right? So that's what you're going to get with Salesforce Commerce. So here, I'm pretty sure these guys are competitor of that platform.
Isn't it time for him to just go fishing, for crying out loud?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I would do if I were in his place. Oh boy. Here, so obviously they have acquired a lot of different platforms. So here they are talking about the acquisition and merger of software leaders. This is Market Live and Shopatron, right? The addition of 5 Run will create a unified omni-channel commerce solution company called Kibo. Okay, 2016 is the date. Beginning of 2016. Five-Run is best known for its experience reinventing in-store commerce through cloud-based solutions built on the most advanced technology in the world. I looked at the screen of the mobile experience, Robert. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I could not really see the mobile app, to be honest. So I don't know whether they really have a mobile app or it was just a site. But at that time, the technology may have been sexy. It does not feel that they have the best technology in mobile. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
2016, a lot of players would claim that they were the best. I mean, there was still a lot of technology that was vying for the foothold, if you will.
I completely agree. And if I go back in 2016, I guess the Angular and React, they were sort of there, but they were not as mainstream. People were sort of doing the POCs, if I remember. I don't know when was I think 2012, 2013 must be the start when it really started picking up that no. Node.js is probably going to be the go-to platform for all of the web development. So 2016 was it wasn't there that okay no everybody's sort of living in React now.
Yeah, because I think it was around 2017 2018 that PWA started.
Exactly, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so here they are talking about the multinational retailers and brands allowing for new features and capabilities that extend retailers' existing systems. Market Live and Shopatron to form Kibo creates the most robust end-to-end cloud-based commerce solution for retailers. And a lot of fluff. So Kibo provides everything retailers need to run an omni-channel commerce business. And this is what I personally like, to be honest. Okay, so if you look at the store experience, the store has very complex workflow. If you talk to any of the merchandisers in shops such as fashion, accessory, you talk about any sort of sports goods, merchandisers, they typically are the leaders of the business. CFOs, they don't have a lot of clout in that business because it's the business is running because of these merchandising planning folks, right? So they typically have a lot more clout. I have never seen merchandisers and planners having as much clout as they are going to be in that business, again, because they have this design sense, they have the product sense. Typically product management is going to be part of that organization as well, so their workflow is going to be very complex. Typically even procurement is going to be part of their organization too. So it becomes very powerful organization in general.
Well, there I'll disagree with you. So it really
Okay.
depends. It depends on the retailer itself.
Okay.
So some retailers, the buyer is going to be the god. The buyer is just going to be the buck stops here, and they're going to be the ones that are pushing the pawns and controlling what the merchandisers do. Now, the merchandisers do have an extremely important role,
yeah,
in making sure that you get a high conversion rate, that it looks good, it has a great user experience online, but depending on whether it's a physical merchandiser or a digital merchandiser. So some people get that confused because they are two different skill sets. The physical merchandisers, that's a whole different ball of wax. Walking into a store, dealing with that in-person experience, figuring out what the mannequins is. The holiday season is upon us, and they are already designing what Fifth Avenue is going to look like for all those windows.
Yeah, completely agree. And I guess, there is always going to be a thin line between, and again, that's what I said. The procurement is sort of part of that organization. It reports to the same VP. So depending upon, how you want to look at that, but typically the procurement, as well as I would say merchandising, design, the store management, they are probably going to have a lot of clout in retail business in general. So here, and again, these guys are talking about, number one, as you correctly pointed out, that store merchandising is going to be very different than your web merchandising. Sometimes that is run by the same team, sometimes different team. They are going to have different needs, and that's where I feel, when you look at the in-store experience, and in-store experience itself, is seeing a lot of innovations. So what you are seeing in e-commerce, the same thing is happening in the in-store experience as well. For example, let's say if you look at the tools that the merchandiser are going to need to be able to craft the experiences inside the store. So typically they are going to have some sort of tool that they are going to be using to be able to do that, so that a store manager can see what the VP or the director is trying to sort of, I mean, director is not going to go in the store and they are literally going to organize, they don't do that.
So I don't know if you saw it today, but Meta just came out with an announcement of their newest toy.
Yeah.
For AR experience, and it's a $1,500 headset.
Yeah.
That has multiple cameras, high res, so you can actually get an AR and a VR experience. So I think what they're planning on is trying to set up many of the retailers that have gone to their failed online experiment to set up AR experiments in their stores probably next year.
Yeah, so AR experience is great, but in general, Robert, and correct me if I'm off here, my understanding of AR experience is going to be once the merchandisers and the planners have sort of planned the experience, the AR is going to help them experience that. Meaning, let's say if I am trying to feel how my couch is going to look with my room, okay, I need to see whether this is going to fit or not. Let's say if I have green flowers, I don't know why you would have that, but how green flowers are probably going to look with your, I don't know, wooden couch or whatever. So that is the experience that AR is trying to do from the customer perspective. I don't think that is going to help the merchandisers themselves in their job, right?
No. It's not going to help the merchandiser in the slightest. What it's going to do is it's going to make them think more about the in-person customer experience and try to figure out exactly what information and experience they want to provide that customer. So I agree. The first thing a customer is going to want to know is, what's this couch going to look like in my apartment? Okay, yeah. Fine. I can turn on a little AR and I can plug that couch in there so I can actually see it, sit down in it, but still see, the surround of my apartment. Possibly. It could also be having all the data points associated with that could be pulled up. Like, okay, do you have this in stock? And the AR should be able to tell them that. Can I order this right now? The AR should be able to provide that to them. So it's probably going to be removing more salespeople, more back end, and moving and pushing the technology and the ordering up front to the customer.
Yeah, could not agree more. Great points. Okay, so let's look at some more details here. So here they are talking about Kibo will provide the integrated search functions, backend support for warehouse management, shipping, reporting, analytics, and customer loyalty programs. Again, that is the OMS experience. This is not supposed to be your ERP or WMS experience. Some people might get confused with this, but the OMS experience is equally critical as well, especially when you are going to have this omni-channel or the unified commerce requirement. So here they are saying the site welcomes over 25,000 visitors. I think this is the case study that they are reviewing a month on so that's the kind of volume that we are looking at. And this is the accessory business, right? And the new integrated order management platform from Kibo will allow those visitors to purchase genuine. This is the Kawasaki case study, I believe. That's why they are saying Kawasaki products directly from Kawasaki's distribution network. By the way, we are talking about these big box retailers with the physical locations, but in this particular case, you are looking at B2B with the B2B businesses that are going to have a lot of contractors, that are going to have a lot of different physical locations as well. Especially if your dealers are going to have physical locations, this particular tool can work in those business models as well. So I like it a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. So in this case, you could ski the lake and jump the lake and then let the good times roll.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So some more details here. So one of the most compelling statistics in integrating the Kibo service was the amount of traffic brought to the dealers. So obviously they're happy about the leads that they are able to see. What else do we have here? I don't see anything else. Okay, so this is the case study. So let's move on to some more details. So this is from the fashion retailer Stein Mart, and they are talking about expanded visual merchandising capabilities for all categories. And that's where the real play is in my mind. And I don't think they are just talking about the e-commerce merchandising. They are also talking about your physical merchandising. And
Mhm.
those two have very different needs in general. Responsive design to accommodate customers' screen size, orientation on various devices. Again, this is a very different ball game. This is what headless is trying to do, to be honest. But look at the amount of development that you are going to need across those devices and the problems that you are going to see.
Well, I mean, if you look back here, going back 2016, talking about multi-screen was cutting edge at that time. That was
Exactly.
that was the entire mandate of responsive.
Yeah.
And around that time is when I started pushing the concept of screen agnostic.
Yep, I agree. The only comment I would make there is screen agnostic is great, but I don't know how friendly that is going to be. Let's say if you are trying to, and we have seen this in case of a lot of ERP systems as well, they all are going to claim that, your screens can work on any device whatsoever. But once you start using them, it's never going to feel the same experience, right? So that's where I think the headless, especially when you are looking at ERP supposed to be your internal, nobody cares, but for customers, they're not going to use it, and Google is not going to be happy with it as well. So that's why the native experience matters. But native, the only thing you need native is going to be your front end experience. The other things are provided through API, and that's the whole premise of headless.
See, when you start saying native, to me, that starts talking about mobile app.
Exactly.
And when you start talking about mobile app, then you've got Apple, which is pretty standard in their sizing, and then you've got the entire Android proliferation nightmare, and that's where you better have dedicated a QA department that has those devices physically, not a virtual test unit, but actual physical units that you're testing against to make sure that your app doesn't blow up. I've seen many mistakes on that. And that's also when you're especially dealing with e-commerce, you also have to start testing across different locations to make sure that the network that your experience is not degraded depending on the network latency.
Exactly. And honestly speaking, Robert, when you talk about the native experience, okay, in mobile world, if you are simply thinking that, I'm going to create an app and going to publish to so many devices, so many OSs, it doesn't work that way. Okay. You have to have the native experience for each of the mobile, especially the main channels, if you really care for that channel. And that's where I see the real benefit in headless, because the whole idea of creating the website that is going to be friendly for every single device, I don't know how comfortable I personally feel in doing the e-commerce transaction on my phone. I never ever feel comfortable swiping my credit card on the website that is just mobile friendly. I don't know about you, Robert, but me personally, I don't know what is going to happen, because they might not even have tested it.
Yeah, that's why when it comes to online payments, I make sure that I use a source that's going to back me up. So I use my Amex, and if anything happens, Amex has got my back.
Yeah, that's probably a smart idea, but in general, I still don't feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm not comfortable going to no-name stores and sticking my credit card into a chip reader with a high probability of there being a scanner there.
Exactly. Great point. Okay, so some more notes here. So this is another acquisition. Obviously, they have done a lot. In this particular case, this is Baynote, and this is the cloud-based personalization platform. With this acquisition, Kibo continues to strengthen its commerce solution with. Okay, so they are doing a lot of work in the personalization space as well. The only caveat I would have is if you look at their UI for the personalization tool, it's really outdated. So I don't know what they have done. I mean, they have a lot of personalization pitch, but really clunky technology, probably, from the old days. And they have acquired a lot of them. They are trying to do a lot more work in the personalization. When I looked at Sitecore had slightly fancier UI. But obviously, then you are probably going to require a lot more development and integration to implement what this platform is able to provide out of the box.
I think this is when you start to really try to figure out what platform you're on and what are you trying and what are you trying to achieve.
Exactly.
These are mostly middle market companies. These are not, the Fortune 100s. So they have IT departments, they have some experience, reading some of the reviews. Some of them are coming off of home built, in-house built programs.
Yep.
And, so this allows them to rapidly expand their capabilities. Does it give them best in class? No. But if you're in the middle market, when you're making that kind of change, you're not looking to leapfrog that far because it's probably going to exceed your staff's capabilities. So you're probably trying to do like a giant step forward, and this would probably achieve that for you.
Yeah, could not agree more. The only layer I would like to make is these guys are trying to focus a lot more on the personalization aspect. And in my mind, again, I will repeat myself that personalization does not need to be integrated. It can be best of breed siloed. You can probably manage that. The experience can be clunky with respect to integration. You should be okay because you are not part of the main transaction. The same thing goes for search as well. It doesn't need to be integrated as much. But for me, if I look at the enterprise architecture, for me, my the store experience, the store commerce experience, my mobile commerce experience, as well as my e-commerce experience, these three need to be super integrated. If you have any loopholes there, your BOPIS is not going to work. Your e-commerce, exciting customer service trends that you are trying to explore, they are not going to work.
You mean I can't pick it up in New Jersey and I have to drive to Portland, Maine to pick it up?
I need to think about that, Robert. I'll get back to you.
No, it's what I'm saying there is if you don't have your systems aligned, you will send data where you don't expect and blow up your customer experience.
Exactly.
I've experienced that with some of the big box retailers here. When I go to take a look and see if they have a part in stock that I need to go pick up like now. And so many of them will say, okay, shop your local store. Yeah. And I go to shop the local store, and then for some reason their app chooses to change the location. And so when I get down to the item, it says, okay, you can pick it up in an hour. And I'm like, okay, great. And I go to check out and it says, it's in East Hanover. I'm like, but that's not where I was shopping.
Exactly. By the way, see, you are talking about different stores. The same thing could happen right inside the store itself.
Yeah.
When you are actually moving from your mobile to your POS, right inside the store, you can have a little fun there because their systems are not going to, I don't know any brands that are going to have super seamless experience. It never is seamless. Yeah. So here are some more details. So obviously they have acquired a lot of different platforms for personalization. For the integration, they are also trying to ride the wave of personalization. So here, this is another one, I guess in 2016, the acquisition of Mozu, an e-commerce, cloud-based e-commerce solution designed to help enterprise manage their entire online presence, commerce, branding, customer engagement, and publishing in a single, powerful, enjoyable experience. And again, I think they are trying to do the same thing as Sitecore, where you have the content experience, where you have the experience management. So a lot of things that you can do. But again, I am more concerned about that commerce experience. Okay, so here, 2016 again. So they have acquired one more, and this is what Mephisto, a market leader in the field of comfortable shoes that promote no. Okay, so they have actually used the solution. Okay, so realized a significant and immediate increase in e-commerce sales by increasing their in-store inventory. So this is the kind of brand that we are talking about. Our stores are very important to us. Exposing store inventory has grown our online sales, and this is where the play is, guys. Okay, it's not about e-commerce versus your retail. Okay, it's always going to be e-commerce plus retail. Okay, that's where you have the real synergies, as well as obviously mobile. So that unified commerce experience is what will give you a lot of mileage in terms of the competitive advantage that I believe only this platform can provide. Okay, so 2017. So what are we looking at here? So okay, this is some partner. They did some sort of implementation. Okay, so the marketplace is really good. They have roughly about 90 partners, which is nothing if you compare this with Shopify, but seems like they have something going on there. Some platforms may not even have two. So good for Kibo. Okay, this is Volt, and they are the factory direct lighting manufacturer, and I love this space. This is very complex from the customer integration perspective, to be honest, customer experience perspective. They have a lot of different moving parts there in this particular space, and they have a lot of different offerings as well. For example, your AR VR experience, Robert, this is the place to be. If you really want to sell AR VR, it's the AV lighting space. That's where the real play is in terms of the experience. So these guys have utilized this one as well. Here they are talking about fully searchable website to quickly connect visitors into rich content, including product articles, how-to videos, photos, and documentation. Quick reorder functions for repeat customers. That's the B2B functionality. Photo and design gallery to showcase projects by homeowners and lighting professionals. So these are the layers that I'm talking about. You are going to have many different customer personas. They are going to have many different needs, and the experience becomes very complex in general. And then you have the experience store as well, and that itself is a very massive lift overall from the experience perspective. Okay, and they are able to utilize the same thing that we have been talking so far, that shop on one device and complete purchase on the next, which in my mind is a mind-blowing experience. Okay, some more comments here. Store level pricing, display store specific and location based pricing to consumers on the digital websites to help drive in store traffic. And again, these pricing scenarios could get very complex as well when you are moving from channel to channel, and then you are going to have many different customer personas as well. It gets very, very, very complex to implement these things, and these guys are able to provide a lot of that out of the box. Then they have the store information management. Okay, so you guys talk about PIM, but guys, you need to worry about the store information management system as well. So they are talking deliver out of the box, support for managing and customizing local store information, events, services, hours on corporate retail websites, saving overhead while promoting the local presence. What else? The in-store assembly, I guess, that's a big deal. I don't know how many platforms can really pull it off. If you talk about the in-store assembly, and then you have the white glove, home delivery. Robert, I don't know. This is just mind blowing. I don't know how many people can really implement that. That is probably going to be really, really complex because you're looking at a lot of different things. You need to worry about the scheduling of the person who's going to be doing that. They're going to leave the store. So you need to maintain the resources who are going to be able to do that. Then you need the inventory. A lot of lifts there. I mean, the way I see this business model, but very unique and super compelling. Okay, some more.
With the white glove home delivery, there is a lot of competition for that, and people could easily get confused with that because you think about, let me Uber it, or let me, all the little, delivery partners that we have right now, and some people really don't understand what that white glove home delivery. It's more than just schlepping the box into your home and then putting it together. That's been outsourced to a lot of different partners. We just had our dishwasher replaced, so we went to Lowe's, we bought a new dishwasher, and they had a local plumbing company who, brought it in, took out the old one, made it work, and that's it. Would that be considered white glove?
No,
no, that would not. It's much more than that. And so it's really important, for that high end when you're buying, say, a Viking stove.
Yeah.
Right. It's that $6,000, $8,000 purchase. That's going to be the white glove kind of treatment that you're looking for.
Exactly. So how would you differentiate, Robert? Let's say if you are talking about this from the offering perspective, So obviously one of the choices that you need to make is either you do it yourself or you simply hand it over to a local
So
partner.
I would view that there's going to be levels of that, and so it's knowing your customer and your product and where that mesh is. So there's home delivery, there's home installation,
Yeah.
and then we put it together for you. And then I would say that the white glove is that, depending on your location, $1 million and up style home, where they come in with the sheets and the white gloves and how they're actually dressed and what they actually do and clean up after themselves and make sure that they don't damage any of the furniture and don't nick the walls and how they interact with the customer. So it's a continuation of the customer experience that's a little bit more than just we install and we take out the old one.
Exactly. And the way I perceive this particular concept in my mind is when you are going to be pre-scheduling, let's say, your dishwasher replacement, you are sort of making your conscious decision whether you want white glove or not. And, they have a lot of time to figure out who they want to send. In this particular case, you are walking to a store, okay? There you need to make sure the inventory is available. And there you are sort of requesting the white glove. So now they need to make sure that you are committed to that product inside the store. They need to make sure that the technician is committed the way you are going to be doing, inside Best Buy, I guess. But then Best Buy experience is obviously going to be far superior because there, at least the PaaS is going to be integrated. I don't know if their e-commerce is going to be equally integrated, where they can sort of hop around. Okay, now I'm PaaS inside.
You mentioning Best Buy, and I think this is probably a really good example. I would say that the white glove experience is if somebody has ordered a brand new computer, a brand new gaming computer, they're going to bring the gaming computer to your home. They're going to connect it. They're going to make sure it's connected to the Wi-Fi, that it's connected to your hard line. They're actually going to do all the installs, updates, configurations, and make sure that it's literally the second you turn it on, it's ready to go do what you want it to do.
That's exactly what I felt, to be honest, that these guys are able to do. And this is very traditional experience, olden days. The guy at the store, they would come to your house, they'll take care of you because time was plenty, I guess, so they didn't have to worry about
yeah Unfortunately, we've all fallen into the, like, here's your box, you get rid of it, you put it together, you start it up, and you configure it yourself. I'm done.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, great commentary there. So okay, let's move on to some more comments here. So here in 19, they have acquired one more. And by the way, this is a very interesting acquisition as well of, I guess, Certona, right? The leading real-time omni-channel personalization solution. So one more. So they had one before. This is 2019. The screen of this particular product is very legacy in general, if you look at their demo, okay? But then after this, they acquired one more. Okay, I don't know if they acquired. And by the way, these two were the two leading ones in the market in terms of the personalization, and they ended up acquiring both. So, which is wonderful. But again, legacy technology. So I don't know why they acquired. Maybe they were really trying to capture the market share. Obviously the PE companies are really smart. So this is also the AI-driven experience that was rated very high by analysts. So now 2019, some more commentary here. So do we have anything meaningful? I don't think so. B2B plus B2C, they can do both, which is also fascinating for me personally. They have decent B2B functionality. I don't think they are going to be as good with B2B as some of the other platforms that we have seen. Industrial B2B especially, I don't think these guys are fit because they require a lot more layers. But, there could be a thin line between your contractors with a lot of different stores versus the real industrial distributors.
So, while we've been going through this, I started taking a look at some of the client sites and what they have done. And I'm not going to name names because that just would not be nice. But I was looking at one of them. And so here they are, they're using this really good product. I mean, I like a lot of the features that Kibo has.
Yeah.
But they have so many products that it becomes unwieldy to find what you're looking for. So unfortunately, for a first-time visitor, the personalization can't kick in. When you've got 100,000, 500,000 SKUs, and you go to look for it, you're not using best UX, in the menu structure. You're using the giant menu. So it's not 7 choices, it's 47 choices. And then when you go, look at them, it's just stream of product, stream of product, stream of product. And so my point of this is, when you're looking at these tools, you can still defeat the greatness of a product through individual bad design and architecture.
Yeah. And again, the design is going to be relevant anyways, irrespective of the tool that you choose.
It's unfortunate that I see, a player who moves up to, obviously they came from somebody else and they moved up to Kibo, and they wanted to take advantage of some of the tools that that they had, and they're shooting themselves in the foot with bad UX.
Could not agree more. You can't solve those problems. I mean, that is the first. Then you can probably figure out your tool. That's always going to be second. Okay, so some more commentary here. I don't know if I have anything else on this one. Overall, from the technology perspective, they are trying to claim that they are definitely unified platform architecture. They are able to provide the SDK. And Robert, I don't know whether you have seen this or not, but they are able to provide SDK. You can build in Node.js, PHP, whichever language that you want to build on top of your APIs. They are able to provide the SDK. I don't know what all you can do inside that. So that should be something that you may want to dig in if you want to talk to these guys. So that's pretty much it on this one. Some more commentary. So this is the SDK that they are able to provide your React based framework, and that was in 2020. Okay, I don't have anything else here.
Well, if you go back, so talking about the unified platform architecture, the next one I think is pretty interesting. The business process management engine.
Yeah.
That can be big, because a lot of organizations are missing those processes.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay, so I intentionally didn't want to touch on that because that could be that could be all over the place, and I have seen really, really crappiest implementations. Once you get into the real BPM, you have no idea how bloated that experience could be. Okay, so when you talk about BPM could be all over the place. Okay, it's not just the e-commerce BPM. You're also looking at your other. So BPM is supposed to be your entire business. It's not supposed to be just the commerce. Sure, they are trying to throw BPM word to this one as well from the customer experience perspective. Great, but then let's say Aptean is going to position that I have BPM. Apicor is going to say I have BPM. Everybody's saying I have BPM. So which BPM are you going to use?
So here's the kicker, right? So the executives are going to get really excited because the sales guy said we have BPM. And then when it comes in-house, who's going to end up doing it? The junior analyst who's never seen the light of day because they're down in the basement with their stapler. And, they're going to be doing their best effort to come up with the business process and put it into the system. And we all know that they don't have the experience to see the issues that they're creating. So they're over-architecting a solution that ends up being unwieldy and sometimes unusable.
To be completely honest, the only thing BPM means in general, when you are looking at a company that is created by a finance organization, and that's exactly what Kibo is, okay? That's exactly what Aptean is. That's exactly what Apicor, Infor are, okay? So one of the things that you are going to notice with them is they buy an iPaaS, some sort of iPaaS integration tool, and they are patching together all of these things, and they are calling abstraction layer on top of that. This is called BPM, and it's nothing but your integration tool, because that's what they use. So they are exposing it to you as well, that you can integrate whatever you want. But in my mind, that is still very integration tool. Nothing more than that.
Well, it's an integration tool with checkpoints and approval levels.
Exactly. Okay, so some more commentary here. So they have acquired one more ad link, the audience creation tool. I guess we saw that in a lot of different platforms. I believe your Sitecore had this. Salesforce Commerce probably, SAP Hybris, if I remember, I think you could create audience in that as well, and probably HCL Commerce. So again, this is a very interesting tool and the capability, a new audience creation tool that enables marketers to efficiently personalize the on-site experience for traffic from paid media campaigns. So the use case is slightly different. Okay, but even if you're bringing all of this, for me, number one, you are sort of creating the audience once you have the paid media. So my understanding is going to be, when you are doing these campaigns, you probably already know who your audience is. So now why are you creating the audience again? It's all over the place in my mind. I don't know what it does, to be honest. If it is going to have any real value in the experience or not. Curbside pickup is a big deal. I have not seen curbside pickup so far with any other platforms. That's a big deal, guys. And if you really want that, probably this is going to be the platform that you want to be looking at. The Kibo POS came late, and I don't know how robust their POS capabilities are going to be. If they can pull off the grocery experience, the busy sort of the aisle experience, then I'll be really impressed. But I don't know. Based on their demos, I don't know if it is going to be as thick, to be honest. So these are some of the customers that we were looking at, Robert. I don't know if you want to touch on any other customers that we have. I don't know if there are any outliers, but for the most part, this is going to be the combination of your physical experience as well as e-commerce experience. That's where I see their play. It's not the industrial distributors or anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a hodgepodge here. So they've got a bunch of clothing companies like Helly Hansen, top of the line. They've got one travel company, Travelodge UK.
Yeah.
They've got Boskov, which is a major retailer here in the Northeast. So it's an interesting mix that they're representing here. They actually have significantly more that they haven't surfaced in this particular image. I just think they've got a really solid footing, and given everybody that they keep purchasing, they're definitely a solid play for a lot of people to take a look at.
Yeah, but the common thread here is going to be that physical store, the POS experience, as well as the whole unified commerce experience. And that is where, otherwise they could go to anybody else, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, to nail that down, to reaffirm, what you've just said, if you're looking for an e-commerce solution and you do not have a physical store presence, multi-physical store presence, then this is probably not the solution for you. You should probably just look at a straight, e-commerce digital experience. But if you've got stores, multiple stores, and you've got lots of SKUs, you've got a fairly large customer base, definitely take a look at them. Exactly.
Could not agree more. So this is the merchandising view, and overall, if you look at this UI, this is very slick, okay? But then you are going to look at the next product that is going to be super clunky. And that's how these acquired companies work, integrated companies work. One product is going to be really good. The other product is not going to be as good. So this is very, very, very slick experience for the merchandiser in my mind, very clean in general. Okay, now this is the experience manager. Okay, this is also for merchandiser, but different. And now look at the UI. Oh boy, they are going to hate it. And by the way, this is for fashion brand. Okay, and when I was looking at Infor PLM, I was like, okay, who's gonna buy this? I'm a fashion brand here. Okay, and then you are showing me a really clunky UI where I am selecting colors from a very clunky palette, but this is worse than that. And these guys are supposed to be e-commerce brand. So I don't know, maybe the capabilities are not there. That's why you have to buy such, this is really bad overall in terms of UI. Okay, the mobile experience, Robert, when I'm looking at this one, it feels as if this is just the website, to be honest, okay? And it's a very, very, very busy website for the mobile experience. So I don't know how comfortable I'm going to be feeling in buying anything on this. I mean, so even though on paper they are saying I'm unified commerce, but not sure, how good the experience is if I look at their screenshots across the channels. And if I could think of operating, let's say, Walmart on this, I don't believe so. And even their PaaS probably is not going to be as, friendly either for the busy cashiers inside the store. So, all right, I guess, just we can cover one review here. I don't know what they have. I don't think we have anything meaningful on this review. Obviously, this is the enterprise customer, and they have roughly 1,000 employees, so which is a big deal. Most of the reviews that I have seen, they seem to be liking, especially for the unified commerce experience. Documentation, people are complaining. Documentation is going to be tricky, and that's what I would feel, because these are all acquired companies. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is going to be true for everybody. So a number of years ago, I was head of North American support for a software company, and I could not keep the documentation up to date because the constant release, we were always behind, always. And so it got to a point where I stopped printing manuals. It all went straight to digital, and we had a help desk that just kept getting calls. It's like, how do I do this? And the documentation just could not keep up with what the development team was releasing.
So, Robert, I am going to tell you one thing. If you really want to figure out, okay, which is the good product versus bad product, okay, I would not recommend looking at the product itself. I would recommend looking at the documentation. You can predict how good the software is going to be based on their quality of documentation. I guarantee this, Robert, okay? You go to SAP, look at the SAP's documentation. Their documentation is supposed to be the product itself. Okay, that's how good the documentation is. That's why SAP is so good in general, in terms of their development quality as well as documentation quality. So you go to Salesforce. Salesforce has really, really awesome documentation, and that's why everybody sort of, even for developers, it's an amazing experience. Shopify, go to Shopify. They have one of the best documentation in general. Sure, there might be some complaints, but the whole product is one, and the documentation is going to be one as well. So again, if you look at the top class products, top software development company, they make sure that the documentation is going to be.
And you know what? And that does speak to the organizational mindset, because you actually have to have the technical writers to write the documentation, which means you have to spend the money in a non-revenue situation to support your customers. And if you don't provide the budget to keep that up to date, it's going to hit you in the butt.
Exactly. And that's why software development is expensive, because you need to hire marketers to be able to write the documentation. And that is something everybody ignores. If you go to any mom and pop shop, they are going to say, oh, I have wonderful product. Look at the documentation. Nobody can understand what that product does.
Yep.
Awesome. Any other comments, Robert?
Nope.
Okay. Amazing, guys. So that's it for today. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our e-commerce series, for which we meet every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and we review one vendor or the solution independently. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We are going to come back with another vendor or the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight.
Good night, everyone.